I'd like to open up our city council meeting for Monday, December 18th, 2017. Could we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the invocation? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Alderman Markham.
Gracious Father, we thank you for blessing us and bringing us to this time. We thank you for how you brought us through this year, taking us into a new year. We ask your grace upon us. We ask your blessings upon this city.
Yes.
Give us wisdom. Give us understanding.
Yes, Lord.
Let your peace abide in this city, in every heart and every mind.
Yes.
Lord, give us the wisdom to do what's right for your people.
Amen.
We
Amen.
praise you and love you for it in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Alderman. Roll call.
Alderman Fisher. Alderman Mayfield.
Present.
Alderman Evans.
Here.
Alderman Allen.
Here.
Alderman Markham.
Present.
Alderman Runnels.
Here.
Alderman January.
Okay, our first order of business today is to recognize a gentleman that who's dedicated almost 25 years of service to our community. I ask that Chief Wilson, would you please come forward? Is he still here?
Yeah, he's back. Who do you talk to him?
And I would ask if our city clerk
Resolution honoring Richard Wilson. Whereas Richard Wilson was hired as a police officer on March 29, 1993, and faithfully served the city of North Chicago, rising through the ranks of the department with promotions to senior juvenile investigator, operations sergeant, first shift patrol supervisor, internal affairs investigator, lieutenant, deputy chief, and chief of police. And whereas Richard Wilson was assigned as the officer in the neighborhood, Marion Jones, where he handled all calls associated with Marion Jones housing from March 1998 to September 1999. And whereas Richard Wilson was assigned as the school resource officer for the North Chicago High School, where he handled all matters pertaining to high school safety and security from September 1999 to April 2002. And whereas Richard Wilson was assigned to the Lake County Major Crime Task Force from July 2002 through December 2005, and whereas Richard Wilson was an extraordinary leader of the North Chicago Police Department until his retirement as Chief of Police on December 15, 2017, after 24 years of dedicated service to the city. And whereas Richard Wilson was a skilled investigator who successfully investigated numerous high-profile crimes resulting in arrests and convictions. He always demonstrated a keen knowledge of proper investigative procedures, and his work was extremely thorough and professional. And whereas Richard Wilson demonstrated a sense of compassion and understanding for the victims and families of crimes. He is in every true sense a law enforcement professional. And whereas Richard Wilson has shown dedication to the citizens and youth of North Chicago by volunteering with the following groups: Positive Community Takeover Group, National Night Out, Community Organized Police Spirit, Shop with the Cop, and the Ask 12 program. Now, therefore, be it resolved by Mayor Leon Rockingham Jr. and the North Chicago City Council that the dedicated service of Richard Wilson to his community is hereby gratefully acknowledged and appreciated. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution shall be presented to Richard Wilson and shall be spread upon the official journals and records of the city of North Chicago.
I have been probably speaking for the last 2 or 3 weeks in regards to the retirement of our Chief Wilson. You know, he has been a servant for the city of North Chicago for almost 25 years. We want to thank him for all that he's done. You know, this is a gentleman that has continued to watch over the city of North Chicago with all the accolades that it has in this resolution, to just say thank you. Thank you for what you've done. Thank you for your service here at the city of North Chicago. We want to appreciate it. Lynette, as I said Saturday, you can have him back now. We thank him for letting us use him for this short period of time. And that, you know, he comes out of the city of North Chicago safely, and we appreciate that. So, sir, it's all yours. The floor is yours.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, City Council, for honoring me in this way. It has been an honor to serve this city for almost 25 years. I appreciated going out, getting out of my car and getting to my uniform every day and serving this city and serving these citizens. My passion was the children, as you can see, as I got involved with so many programs and developed so many programs to focus on children, because they are the future of not only this community, but the future of this world. So, like I said before, I said it downstairs, it's tough leaving, but sometimes, you know, you did your job and it's time to go. Just like I asked the mayor and the city council the other day, I said I had completed my tour of duty, and it was time for me to leave. So, again, thank you, citizens of North Chicago. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to serve you. Thank you.
We do have another little plaque to present to Chief Wilson. It says, presented to retiring Chief of Police Richard Wilson, 1993 through 2017, in appreciation for 24 years of loyal and dedicated service to the people of the city of North Chicago. We present this to you in recognition of your many years of sacrifice and service. Forever family. Congratulations again.
Hey, man, have his wife come up. Have his wife
Yeah, I
come
was gonna say, Lynette, you gotta come up.
up. You gotta come up here.
Come on, get in the picture.
There you go.
Almost 25 years. Very nice. And we want to also thank you to, again, his wife Lynette for the retirement party that was given on Saturday. You did a fantastic job, and it was well recognized. So, moving forward, minutes from the preceding meeting.
Mayor Rockingham.
Oh, I'm sorry.
oh.
I'm sorry. Can we entertain a motion to pass the resolution?
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
It's been moved by Alderman Reynolds, second by Alderman January, that the resolution honoring Richard Wilson be passed as presented. Are there any questions? Roll call.
Alderman Fisher. Alderman Mayfield. Alderman Evans.
Aye.
Alderman Allen.
Aye.
Alderman Markham.
Aye.
Alderman Runnels.
Aye.
Alderman January.
Motion carried. Minutes from the preceding meeting.
Mayor Rockingham,
Alderman Allen.
can I make a motion that we approve the minutes for December the 4th, 2017 council meeting?
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Alderman Allen, second by Alderman Evans, that the minutes from the preceding meeting be passed as presented. Are there questions?
Question.
Alderman Markham.
Yes, on page 2, under 7-4, under the comments in question, it was a motion to postpone until December the 18th. It was not a motion to table.
7-4.
It was a motion to postpone until
The 18th.
December the 18th, 17, not to table.
Right. Okay, you're right.
Are there any other corrections? Will you amend your motion and your
Yes, I amend
second?
my motion that we change that.
And your second?
Second.
Okay. All right. Any
Thank
other
you.
questions? Roll call?
Alderman Mayfield.
Aye.
Alderman Evans.
Aye.
Alderman Allen.
Aye.
Alderman Markham.
Aye.
Alderman Runnels.
Aye.
Alderman January. Alderman Fisher.
Motion carried. Omnibus vote agenda.
Mayor Rockingham,
Alderman Evans.
I would like to make a motion to approve the omni-vote agenda 6-1 Treasurer's Report, November 2017, and 6-2 Girl Scouts Cookie Program, January 1st through 21st, 2018, as is.
Second.
It's been moved by Alderman Evans, second by Alderman Allen, that the omnibus vote agenda be passed as presented. Are there questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Regular agenda, 7-1, consideration and approval of appointment of Lazaro Perez to Chief of Police position.
Mr. Mayor,
Alderman Mayfield.
I move for the appointment of Lazaro Perez to Chief of Police position.
It's been moved by Alderman Mayfield, second by Alderman Fisher, that 7-1 be passed as presented. Are there questions? Roll call?
Alderman Evans.
Aye.
Alderman Allen.
Aye.
Alderman Markham.
Aye.
Alderman Runnels.
Aye.
Alderman January. Alderman Fisher.
Aye.
Alderman Mayfield.
Aye.
Motion carried. Congratulations, sir. Welcome aboard. Seven two, consideration and approval, anti-harassment resolution and policy.
Mayor Rockingham,
Alderman Allen.
make a motion that we approve the anti-harassment resolution and policy.
It's been moved by Alderman Allen, second by Alderman January, that 7-2 be passed as presented. Are there questions? Roll call?
Alderman Allen.
Aye.
Alderman Markham.
Aye.
Alderman Runnels.
Aye.
Alderman January. Alderman Fisher. Alderman Mayfield.
Aye.
Alderman Evans.
Aye.
Motion carried. 7-3, consideration and approval of resolution approving purchase sale agreement for 1626 Greenfield Avenue.
Mayor Rockingham,
Alderman Evans.
I would like to approve 7-3, the consideration approval of the resolution approving purchase sale agreement for 1626 Greenfield Avenue as is.
Second.
Second.
It's been moved by Alderman Evans, second by Alderman Mayfield, that 7-3 be passed as presented. Are there questions? Alderman January?
Can we be refreshed as to the purchase price?
Victor?
The purchase price for this piece of real estate is $2,000, which should cover the city's closing costs.
All right. Should that be added to the motion, or is that necessary? Part of the resolution. Part of the resolution, okay. All right, any other questions? Roll call?
Alderman Markham.
Aye.
Alderman Runnels.
Aye.
Alderman January. Alderman Fisher. Alderman Mayfield.
Aye.
Alderman Evans.
Aye.
Alderman Allen.
Aye.
Motion carried. 7-4, consideration and approval, resolution approving purchase sale agreement for 1814 Seymour Avenue.
Mayor Rockham,
Alderman Evans.
I would like to approve 7-4, the consideration approval resolution approving purchase sale agreement for 1814 Seymour Avenue as is.
Second?
It's been moved by Alderman Evans, second by Alderman Mayfield, that 7-4 be passed as presented. Victor, you have a price on that one?
Oh, I'm so sorry. The price is the same.
Same price.
$1,000.
Okay, just to be fair. Okay, any other questions? Roll call.
I got one question, Mayor.
Alderman Evans.
It's for Victor. On these properties, are we going out for bids on these properties, or what's?
Not on these properties. These are properties that of entities that came to the city expressing interest. They were a presentation that was made to the Economic Development Committee, and the committee decided that it was in the city's best interest to work with them and enter into this agreement.
So is that what we're going to be doing for the future of properties, or what?
No, we're still working that through our attorneys, and it's possible that we create our desire is to create a bid process. We weren't able to create a bid process because these parties came to us and expressed an urgency in proceeding with the acquisition of these properties, and they want to be in a position to be building single-family homes in the spring of next year.
Okay, so as of right now, do we have any more properties that's?
As of right now, we don't have any other interested parties that have expressed an interest in any other city-owned property.
So the rest of them will be out for bid?
We're going to be discussing that over the next couple of weeks on what's the best approach.
Okay. That's what I wanted to know.
Okay. All right, any other questions regarding 7-4? Roll call.
Alderman Reynolds.
Aye.
Alderman January. Alderman Fisher. Alderman Mayfield.
Aye.
Alderman Evans.
Aye.
Alderman Allen.
Aye.
Alderman Markham.
Aye.
Motion carried. 7-5, consideration and approval, ordinance approving zoning map amendment special use permit for a planned unit development and final plat of subdivision, Family Dollar.
Mayor Rockham,
Alderman Evans.
I would like to approve the 7-5, the consideration approval ordinance approving zoning map amendment, special use permit for a planned unit development and final plat of subdivision for the Family Dollar.
Second.
It's been moved by Alderman Evans, second by Alderman Allen, that 7-5 be passed as presented. Are there questions? Alderman January.
Location, please?
What?
Where's this located again?
14th and Lewis,
James and Lewis.
Family Dollar?
Right in that corner in front of Paris?
Yes. Okay. Any other questions? Roll call?
Alderman January.
No.
Alderman Fisher. Alderman Mayfield.
Aye.
Alderman Evans.
Aye.
Alderman Allen.
Aye.
Alderman Markham.
Aye.
Alderman Reynolds.
Aye.
Motion carried. 7-6, consideration and approval awarding a contract to Pump Right Incorporated for the work associated with the planned refurbishing of 4 water pumps and motors at the water treatment plant.
Mayor Rockham,
Alderman Evans.
with the recommendation of the Public Works Committee and staff, I would like to present a motion to authorize the mayor to finalize and sign Proposal 918 QB from Pump Right of Frankfort, Illinois, for the work needed to remove, rebuild, and reinstall 2 low-lift pumps and motors at the water treatment plant in an amount not to exceed $189,300. Also, we have for pump 5 and 6, which will be on the thing, that, I would like to present a motion to authorize the mayor to finalize and sign Proposal 918 QA from Pump Right of Frankfort, Illinois, for the work needed to remove, rebuild, and reinstall 2 low-lift pumps and motors at the water treatment plant in an amount not to exceed $169,460.
We are. That's what that equals. That's what equals a 4 pumps.
Those 4 pumps. Yes.
One motion.
One
Right,
motion.
one motion, that's
Yeah.
correct.
Are there questions on the motion? Alderman Markham.
Since there are two varying prices, shouldn't that motion be divided, split up?
It's being presented as one purchase, one procurement. It's all related to the
Even
same
though it's
purpose.
told different, it's not one lump sum, it's two individual prices on it?
Two different companies.
The motion recognizes both of them
Uh-huh.
and requests approval for both, so it's okay.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't know if we have a second yet.
Yeah.
There was no second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No debate.
Yes. There's a motion on.
Second.
No debate.
It's moved by Alderman Evans, second by Alderman Allen, that 7-6 be passed as presented.
Alderman Markham. if
Now
you-
That's
Alderman
my,
Markham.
my
You're-
question.
You're allowed to present one motion for both proposals.
Mm-hmm.
You're also allowed to make a motion to divide the question to vote
Right.
on them separately if you want to. But as presented, you're being asked to approve all 4 pumps at once.
Right. I would move to divide, I move to divide the motion.
Question. Okay.
Second.
It's been moved by Alderman Markham, second by Alderman January, that the two motions should be divided separately. Are there any questions on the,
Prices. Okay.
are there any questions on the motion, on the subsequent motion? Roll call.
Wait.
This
This
is to.
This is to divide, you have two
This motion
prices.
is to divide the two up. If it passes, then you gotta make two separate motions. If it doesn't, we gotta go back and
Well, that's
make
what
the
I
mo-
just read, two different motions.
No, but it's under one, but
It's
it's under
under
one.
one.
Okay, you don't want to.
I'm dividing.
Okay, got you.
Then we come back and vote.
Okay.
Okay, everybody understand the vote? Okay. All right.
Alderman Mayfield.
Aye.
Alderman Evans.
Aye.
Alderman Allen. Alderman Markham.
Aye.
Alderman Reynolds.
Aye.
Alderman January.
Okay, motion carried. Start all over,
So you do the one first.
one at a time.
Okay.
We already have them on the floor, so we'll just vote on 2 pumps, the first 2 pumps, and then vote on the second 2 pumps.
Okay, so now,
You will
Can't you just say
pump
pumps
1 and
one
2.
and
Right,
okay. Okay, so there's a motion on the floor for pump 1 and 2 in the amount of $189,300.
That's correct.
Second.
Well,
No.
no, we already did that.
Oh, so it's already on the floor?
It's already on the
Okay,
floor,
all
but
right.
this is what we're voting on right now,
All right.
okay? Any questions on that? Roll call.
Alderman Mayfield.
Aye.
Alderman Evans.
Aye.
Alderman Allen.
Aye.
Alderman Markham.
Aye.
Alderman Reynolds.
Aye.
Alderman January.
Aye.
Alderman Fisher.
Motion carried. Second motion on the floor is pump 5 and 6 in the amount of $169,460. Is, any questions on that? Roll call.
Alderman Evans.
Aye.
Alderman Allen.
Aye.
Alderman Markham.
Aye.
Alderman Reynolds.
Aye.
Alderman January.
Aye.
Alderman Fisher. Alderman Mayfield.
Aye.
Motion carried. 7-7, consideration and approval awarding a contract to Hatch Incorporated for the maintenance and calibration of the chemical systems installed at the water treatment plant.
Mr. Mayor,
Alderman Evans.
with the recommendation of the Public Works Committee and staff, I would like to present a motion to authorize the mayor to sign agreement number Hatch 11259 dated 8/14/2017 with Hatch Incorporation in an amount not to exceed $22,112 for water plant chemical meter calibration and maintenance services for 2018. Funds for this work are available in the water fund.
Second.
It's been moved by Alderman Evans, second by Alderman Allen, that 7-7 be passed as presented. Are there questions? Roll call.
Alderman Allen.
Aye.
Alderman Markham.
Aye.
Alderman Reynolds.
Aye.
Alderman January. Alderman Fisher. Alderman Mayfield.
Aye.
Alderman Evans.
Aye.
Motion carried. Could I have a motion to hold on 7-8 until, when are they going to do it, till next meeting?
Yes.
So,
Well, he said he wasn't sure.
yes.
Okay.
I have a motion to hold it? Is that what you want,
Table.
hold?
To table it?
Table it.
Just to table it?
Until
Okay.
next, council meeting, 7-8, entering into jurisdiction transfer agreement with the Illinois Department of Transportation.
Second.
It's been moved by Alderman January, second by Alderman Markham, that 7-8 be tabled until the following meeting. Are there questions? Can I do this a voice vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 7-9, consideration and approval, appointment of Ezet Williams to the North Chicago Housing Authority Board, term 12/19/17 through 2020, replacing Evelyn Alexander.
Mayor Rakim,
Alderman Evans.
I would like to consideration approval for appointment of Ezet Williams to the North Chicago Housing Authority Board, term 12/19/17 to 2020, replacing Evelyn Alexander as is.
Second.
It's been moved by Alderman Evans, second by Alderman Markham, that 7-9 be passed as presented. Are there questions? Roll call.
Alderman Markham,
Aye.
Alderman Reynolds,
Aye.
Alderman January, Alderman Fisher, Alderman Mayfield,
Aye.
Alderman Evans,
Aye.
Alderman Allen.
Aye.
Motion carried. 7-10, consideration approval, reappointment of Betty Fisher to the North Chicago Housing Authority Board, terms 11/19/17 through 2022. Alderman Fisher. Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved by Alderman Fisher, second by Alderman Mayfield.
He can't.
Can he
Can't
make
make-
that motion, being
Make that motion.
that it is, that's the question on the floor.
As long as she's not disqualified from serving, he can make the motion.
Okay.
So he's, okay.
Fisher and who? I'm sorry.
Fisher, then Mayfield.
Okay.
Is there a question on the Alderman January?
Mayor, how long has Ms. Fisher been on the board?
That I couldn't tell you. She's been appointed several times.
You don't know exactly how many years?
I couldn't answer
find
that.
out.
10, plus
I
10
could send
years,
it to
plus
you.
20?
I haven't.
I've been back in the city, Mayor, since 2002, and Mrs. Fisher was on the board at that time.
At that time?
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? So, question, any other questions? Roll call.
Alderman Reynolds.
Aye.
Alderman January,
No.
Alderman Fisher. Alderman Mayfield.
Aye.
Alderman Evans.
Aye.
Alderman Allen.
Aye.
Alderman Markham.
Aye.
Motion carried. 7-11, consideration approval of 2017 tax levy. Which
Mr.
one?
Mayor, question?
Alderman Reynolds.
Confirmation on this item, what scenario we're talking about?
I think that it was brought up for 2% that would go into the police and fire pension fund. Okay? Was that what we, I'm just, that was the scenario that was brought? Alderman Markham?
Well, we can't debate it until it's a motion, right? And there's no motion because we haven't stated which one.
I just want a confirmation of what it is.
No, but what I'm saying is there's no debate if we
Okay,
don't state.
let's get a clarification from the
So
city attorney.
you can make a motion, nominate which scenario you want to nominate. And in the course of the conversation, if we reach a different conclusion, we can amend the motion.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, council, my vote, no tax increase.
Well, okay.
Zero.
I don't,
Is that a-
Zero.
is that a-
Zero.
Zero. That's the other scenario on
That's-
here, zero.
okay. That's the scenario zero is,
And he made the motion.
okay, is there a second? You make a second? Mm-hmm. Okay, it's moved by Alderman Reynolds, second by Alderman Markham, that the tax levy be passed with a zero increase. Are there questions on the increase?
I thought we was
Alderman-
talking about that. We was
Alderman
trying-
Allen?
So, are we gonna put any money in the police pension fund now?
If this is moved as presented, no. It would be no additional increase other than what would be levied for in the past. So there's no additional increase.
No, I'm not going. If it's, okay,
You'd have to
If you,
Okay,
dis-
yeah.
if you, we can debate it.
Debate it.
And at the end, during the course of the debate, if you disagree, you can make a motion to
to
amend
amend. That's
the
right.
question. And make a motion to amend the question to provide for a 2% increase.
okay.
So, is there a question to Alderman
If you,
Evans?
if you don't increase at 2% or anything, that's gonna come back to next year, and you're gonna be talking 4% or more, right?
You also might run into the risk that the pension boards will garnish your state shared revenue and get the money anyway.
Which is being done in East St. Louis right now.
Right.
So the state sales tax that you share with you, the state income tax that they share with the city, the pension boards can take that away from the city and deposit that directly to the pension.
Will they take their amount that they wanna take, or?
They will take the amount necessary to make up the difference.
So we won't have any control.
We will have no control, and that will definitely go on the taxpayers.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
No,
It comes from the state shared revenue. And
Right.
so the amount of money that you would otherwise be entitled to receive for the local sales tax.
Right.
And
gas tax and all that stuff, like it was $800,000, you won't get that because it's gonna go towards,
if all that's necessary to meet your annual required contribution, it would go toward that. And whatever's left over, if there's any left over, would then go to the city.
So is there, right now, there's a motion on the floor for 0, or we can amend it to add the 2% so that we can at least fund some of it, fund that to the police and pension. Alderman January.
About time. Thank you. Again, you know, we're talking about the fact that there are other options on the table that we need to be looking at. We can look at our budget coming up in the next month or two, that we're gonna start negotiating our budget and working that out. We need to look at that. We need to start trimming. We need to be fiscally sound up here going into the next year. With the no increase, I don't feel we need to put the burden on the citizens at all. We need to start looking internally as to what we can do to fund these, 2 pension funds. And we need to be fiscally sound at doing this. And that's, again, looking internally as to what can we do and take that money that we're supposedly saving and whatever options we use, or utilize several options next year. We need to take that savings and put it towards the fund. Not continually putting it on the taxpayers' backs and burden them, who are already burdened by our water tax, by all of the fees that they have to pay. So, and their taxes keep going up, and they are high. I just saw a recent tax bill, and definitely it's disproportionate to what our city, the values of the homes, as well as the size of our city. So we need to start thinking outside the box instead of always going to the taxpayers. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
I just, go ahead, would you?
Just in terms of looking at the numbers, there's a chart at your place on the dais. And I don't know who prepared the chart. It says that the increase in the total amount you collect results from the same effective tax rate, apparently because the EAV in the city has gone up. Is that correct?
Yes.
So the increased, you would increase the amount of revenue you collect because the pie is bigger. It doesn't necessarily mean each owner of property pays more money. According to this chart, a homeowner who has a property with an average EAV of about $50,000 would pay the same tax bill as last year,
Even with the 2% increase.
as a result of an increase in the value of the property in the city.
Alderman Markham?
But this is just coming from the city. This is not the school board who went up they went up. All of these
Skills
other
Towns, yeah,
boards have
yeah.
gone up. And then the city's going up too. So this scenario is not just it reflects only the portion of the city and not everything else that it's encompassing.
True.
So there's a significant increase on the taxpayer. The burden is yet gonna be on the taxpayer.
But we're speaking of the city of North Chicago.
Right, I understand that.
And if we raise it from what this scenario, because you asked for,
I want to give clarification on me saying 2%. The
Okay.
reason why I said that was because we were given 3 scenarios. We were given 0, we were given 1 that if we funded the pensions completely, which was just an extravagant percentage, and then we were given the 4.99. We
Yes.
weren't given any other scenarios to discuss or work with, and I suggested 2%.
okay? And
Okay.
then, so this is what you suggested, or this is what you asked for.
Right.
That the comptroller ran.
Right,
And
and
it
yes,
said-
which she could have run the numbers that evening and
Well-
given us the numbers, and we could have discussed it then.
No, she could not have, because she had to go back to the county to get the assessment values out in order to find out that even if you did the 2% increase and put that money into the pensions, that actual increase to the citizens of North Chicago from the city of North Chicago, just the city of North Chicago, would not be an increase at all. It would stay actually the same. Mary, I'll let you come in and explain that.
After we met with council, we had a question, had to do with abatements. And so Maria Martinez and I spent some time working through the method again with Kip Wells at the county. And we've also reviewed some of the numbers. And I think these are the final numbers that we have for you today, revised estimates. But I think what's been said here is fairly consistent with what we said last week. The basic results are that if you want to keep the numbers exactly at last year's level, then people will pay less next year. If you want to increase them for police and fire, the levels that we talked about, those are shown on here in the last column, about 1.4 million for the police and $913,000 for the fire. Then there's going to be a small increase for homeowners projected. Now, if your property tax estimates go in higher than the forecast that we used, then it may be no increase. This is a forecast. We think we were very conservative with the numbers in terms of where we think the property tax numbers are going to be next year. So right now, summary is, you want to go with option 1, call it 0. That's going to be a slight reduction for folks. You want to go with option 2, call it the police and fire option. That's going to be a slight increase as of where we are right now. Option 1, slight decrease for taxpayers. Option 2, slight increase.
59.
Yeah.
All right.
Obviously, if your property value is lower than that, or if overall the numbers come in higher at the county, then that's a good thing, and that's what we're working towards.
So let me just say, right now, our police and fire pension board, police and fire pension, we're funded at what, 30%? Or,
28, right?
Ken?
Overall, about 34 for one and 28 for the other.
So we're not getting anywhere close to where we need to be at that 90% mark that the state is requesting us.
And 2% is only going to bring 197,000.
Yeah.
But,
More, which is
I mean, it's better than,
a significant amount. You still owe for this current year $735,000 to the fire pension and $1,753,000 to police. And as we told you at the meeting, that there is a possibility that there will be an intercept from the police or fire from the city in order to meet the pension obligations for our police officers and firefighters.
And let me just say, even if this increase, and I know it's a modest increase that we would put into the fire and police pension fund, we're still gonna have to do all the cuts that we spoke on. And that's still gonna have to come because we're not putting anything into the budget and into the general corporate. So naturally, whatever issues that are out there, it's still gonna be outstanding. This money is not going into our general corporate, it's going only into our pensions that we have to fund. So if we leave it at zero, it's no additional dollars into either coffers. If there's a motion to amend it to add the 2%, at least some funding goes into the fire and police fund. So, are you,
Call the question.
call the
There's a motion on the floor.
question
Let's
on the
move on.
motion? Roll call.
Oh, sorry. Alderman January.
Aye to the 0.
Alderman Fisher. No. Alderman Mayfield.
No.
Alderman Evans. To 0.
Question already on the floor.
Question for the 0.
No. No.
Alderman Allen.
No.
Alderman Markham.
Point of order. If this is voted down,
Then you gotta come back and
then
have
you
it
have to come back again.
for a motion to,
Now,
for the
what,
2%.
didn't you state that it could be amended?
You can make another motion tonight,
You can make another motion?
sure, for a different motion. You can't ask for the same thing again, but.
Right, you can't ask for the same thing again.
But 2 is different than 0.
You can make it tonight
Yes,
in the same meeting. That's what I'm saying,
yes.
okay? What's the question?
0%.
What?
0%.
Aye.
Alderman Runnels.
0.
motion failed.
No, that carried. The 0. Oh, you're right.
it
Yeah,
failed.
right, sorry.
Now, is there a motion to put the tax levy at 2%?
I make a motion, we do it for 2%. If we use it, it goes, earmark, and it goes into the
Into the pension,
pension.
all right? Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Alderman Allen, second by Alderman Mayfield, that the tax levy be passed at 2%, where the funds be allocated for the fire and police pensions. Are there questions? Roll call.
Alderman Fisher.
Aye.
Alderman Mayfield.
Aye.
Alderman Evans.
Aye.
Alderman Allen.
Aye.
Alderman Markham.
No.
Alderman Runnels.
No.
Alderman January.
No.
Motion carried. City bills?
Mr. Mayor,
Alderman Reynolds.
I move to pay the city bills, the sum total, $428,162.56.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved by Alderman Reynolds, second by Alderman Mayfield, that the city bills be passed as presented. Are there questions? Alderman January.
Thank you, Mayor. Hey, Mary. Are there funds available and when will the checks be cut, is my first question.
For funds available, and the checks will go out at the end of the week.
And my second question is, what's the exact amount in the water fund as of today?
It's a question for the treasurer, which probably can only give you by the last month.
I can't give you the exact amount that's in the water fund.
As of today, you cannot? Wow, that's amazing.
We don't have a daily balance.
The question that's asked, those checks are cashed each day. You asked me
What's the amount that you are aware of? What's the amount that you are aware of?
Pardon?
What is the amount that you are aware of in the water fund?
2 million.
2 million. Okay. And when is the next
Amen.
withdrawal from the water fund to cover our bills?
At the end of January 31st,
And that amount again was?
$659,000.
Thank you.
Any other questions on the bills? Roll call?
Alderman Mayfield.
Aye.
Alderman Evans,
Aye.
Alderman Allen,
Aye.
Alderman Markham.
Aye.
Alderman Runnels.
Aye.
Alderman January.
No.
Motion carried.
Alderman Fisher.
Motion carried. I'm sorry about that. Miscellaneous business. Anything under miscellaneous business? Alderman Markham.
Now, we've passed this tonight.
Yes.
Now, you said there are other things that are going to be done.
Yes.
Will there be a meeting with the council and actively discuss the other things that will be done?
Yes.
All right, now you're saying yes.
Yes. Well, some of the things that we've talked about already, as far as consolidation, that is going to be brought to the council in regards to the consolidation, and possibly things that I know that Ms. Wells has talked about in finance. So those will be brought to council for consideration. It's going to be up to this board to pass it, but it's going to be brought to council, yes.
And then will there be discussion on how there can be an active effort to fund these pensions, an active effort from the city in terms of you're looking for projected revenue from certain things that are coming into the city and all of that?
Well-
Will there be an active discussion about what can be done and not just wait to the last minute and expect us to?
When you say active to what is going to be done, in what regards?
I mean that I've been sitting on this council, and there's never been any long-term discussion over how we fund the pensions. It always comes down to the end of the year, and we have to come in and vote a tax levy increase all the time, since I've been here. And what I'm saying is there's never been a meeting with the council or your staff or whatever to say, okay, what ideas can we come up with to actively fund these pensions? That's what I'm saying.
Well,
I'm only talking about for
and
myself.
I could tell you this, Alderman, and that could be discussed as we talk about consolidation and using those funds that whatever we gain from consolidation to be placed into the pension funds. Those are the issues that would be brought up and presented to this board as we move forward in that regards.
Now, does that have to fall under us, one of the council committee, or can there be a special committee to deal with this?
I would think if we have enough committees here that we could allocate it into one of the either finance or public safety to move forward on that.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Are there any other questions? Miscellaneous business. Anything else under miscellaneous business? Alderman Mayfield.
I'd like to thank everyone who participated in the second ward meeting. Ed Wilms, Chief Wilson, and Chief Perez, and Mr. Mayor, thank you so much. And I also like to thank Mary Wells for her service. I know this will be, Mary, your last meeting as comptroller. You had some big shoes to fill, and now someone has some big shoes to fill for you. Under your leadership, we received a distinguished budget presentation in May. So that was, a great honor for the city. So I'm going to miss you. I believe the rest of the council is going to miss you. And please think of us.
Well,
We'll be
I want
thinking of you.
to take a quick moment
On that, before you make your presentation, we received the award.
Oh, we got the award.
We received the award for a Distinguished Budget Presentation Award presented to the City of North Chicago, Illinois. And Mary, this was under your leadership.
It sure was.
If it wasn't for you trying to put all the things in place that we are trying to do in the finance department to continue to try to balance the budget, this is an award that is something that we've been trying to work here at the city for as long as I've been here, and that's been over 24 years. Through your work in the comptroller's office, we did receive that award. So congratulations to you, Mary, for what you did for the city of North Chicago, and we thank you for that.
I want to take a quick moment to thank folks here, a few people in particular. The mayor for his inspirational leadership, Chief of Staff for her quick wit, Alderman Runnels, the chair of my committee, whose wisdom and patience led me through a long and difficult year. Treasurer, who has provided so much training to me that I think he may be the first person to cry when I leave, and he has to work with a new person, but his help was invaluable. The executive staff here is one of the best that I've ever worked at anywhere. I have 25 years of government experience, and they are really excellent. In particular, Victor Barrera, who worked tirelessly with me day in, day out, and through his efforts, he now has my staff quoting work smarter, not harder. So they think that I came up with that, but that's really Victor. He's done a ton of work with my team, and I've worked with his team, so it's going to be a big loss for me personally. And then lastly, I'd just like to thank Maria Martinez. She's not here tonight, but she did a ton of work on almost every difficult problem that we threw at her over the last year, and us in particular, the budget, which we just got the award for. So I'm very lucky to have a few extremely hardworking and smart people in the comptroller's office. So thank you all, and a special thanks to all the folks in the city of North Chicago who made me really, I came at Christmas time last year, and I was really struck with how there's a real community spirit here, unlike the town where I live. So I always feel a little special part of me is here in North Chicago. So thank you so much, all of you, for this opportunity to work with me. Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you,
Mayor.
Mary. Thank you for all that you did. All right. I wanted to present the awards. It was presented. That's all right. That's quite all right. Anything else on the miscellaneous?
Merry Christmas to everyone.
And that's the only other thing I was going to say to the citizens of North Chicago and those guests that come into our community. We do want to wish you a joyous Christmas. We want to say to each and every one of you, to your families, we hope that you enjoy this season. And as we move into 2018, we ask that you all try to be as safe as possible. And, you know, we just say to each and every one of you, God bless you. And we look forward to seeing you in 2018. Thank you so much. Citizens' comments.
Waddell Brooks.
Mayor, City Council, and citizens of North Chicago, I was sitting just thinking, are we better off today than we were this time last year? We're going into 2018, and I can reminisce about Valerie DeVos, how she kept us informed about the numbers, you know, getting away from us. And I can look back at former Mayor Betty Thomas when she had a African-American lawyer, city attorney. You know, she was trying very hard. And do we have, you know, African-American department heads, you know, and we didn't have any 2017, and what about 2018? Do we have a plan? So much has been talk about a plan of trying to get some department heads that are African Americans. We can operate a city, but we don't have it. Now, there are three types of people in North Chicago, probably elsewhere too, not just North Chicago. There's people that make things happen. In other words, I was the department head for equal employment opportunity at Great Lakes when I retired. My job was to make things happen. And boy, did we ever make things happen. I give you an example. Ella Miller, that you know, was a pipe fitter. Ever heard of a woman being a pipe fitter, especially at her age? Yeah. I made things happen by having a plan, a program, you know, for that. It's not taking jobs away from people. You have to have a plan for it. Okay, then there's other people who just watch things happen. And of course, the third is those that are sitting wondering what's happening. Which one are you? Are you one that make things happen, watch things happen, or just wonder what's happening, you know? Now, great minds have visions, right? We have to have a vision to be a leader. Average minds have discussed events, and small minds discuss people. You know, so we got to look at it. Now. In North Chicago, we have school closings, and we have the city with no grocery store. Do we have a vision for a grocery store? Are we trying to make things happen to have one? We've been talking about it for years, you know. What about a plan for one for 2018? We lost an opportunity to purchase Fountain Square. North Chicago could have had Fountain Square. But we lost that opportunity because we had nobody with vision.
Thank you, Dr. Brooks.
Sorry. Okay. I'm ready. Betty Harris?
First of all, I would like to give honor to God, who is the author and finisher of our faith. And I want to also give thanks and recognition to retiring Chief Wilson. He has served us well and been dedicated to our children. I might add, he also has been very good to our seniors, who are an important part of our community. I would also like to congratulate our new Chief Perez, who I believe is also an advocate of the children and our seniors. And I'd also like to thank Alderman Reynolds, Alderman January, and Alderman Markham for being stand-ups and saying we do not want to raise taxes on our seniors. And that's who's paying the taxes. My hat is off to you three. The rest of you, well, I just pray for you. Okay, I also want to know, where is the plan? Where is the vision? We have the finest police department in the state of Illinois and the finest fire department. And everybody's using them because they're so good. Yet we don't attract people. We don't attract businesses. Could it be because we don't have a plan or a marketing strategy to get people in? As the Honorable Alderman Markham said, are we going to even have a discussion on how to generate revenue other than up in taxes? Do we have a plan? And it's marketing. We have a great city with great people and great children. People should be fighting to get in North Chicago. Businesses. Could it be that they don't know where we going? Because we don't know where we going? Okay, take a lesson from the Honorable and Humble Alderman Markham. He has stated many times, and he's very humble because he does have finance expertise, education, in other words. Where are we going to start emphasizing that we have to get our schools in order? That is what attracts people. And all I hear from this city council is we don't have any authority over the school. I beg to differ. You have every authority. These are our children and our future. And our taxes will continue to go up because we cannot attract businesses because businesses are not attracted to schools that
Thank you, Ms.
are
Harris.
below average.
Thank you, Ms. Harris.
Charles January?
Charles January, North Chicago. There's a couple things I'm going to say, and I'll be brief. First of all, what you guys did tonight didn't make any sense, but again, we have stupidity versus nothingness, so I guess it's okay. On a better note, we got a comptroller that's leaving, okay? We need to move on, and I think you guys, instead of trying to replace that job, it should be contractor, because you don't need a full-time comptroller if you got a treasurer. That doesn't make sense. Economic development, there is none. So that's $90,000 we're looking at. That's a savings. And you guys need to start cutting some of these salaries. And I'm going to keep talking about that because I can. Need to cut some of these salaries because they don't make sense in compensatory to what the citizens of North Chicago are making. Now stop using big words. Meaning average income in North Chicago is not $30,000. Well, we got salaries over $100,000. That makes no sense. That's number one. Number two, it just doesn't make sense. You got a water fund, if it's got $2 million, I don't believe that. But if it's got $2 million in it and you're spending $600,000 a month, how much more time does that last, folks? I guess you don't know, because $2 million is not going to last you a long time. $600,000, maybe 4 months at the most. So what are you going to do, City Council and Mayor? But again, you don't know because obviously nothing's happening. What Betty Harris says makes sense. What we need to do as a city, I must try to do it. I'm going to get out there every day and start talking about it, is combine these parties. We don't need to have a park district and a school board separate than the city. We have no control of the school board because the state took it over, which that mayor up there signed a letter about. So his kids can go to the charter school, not the North Chicago schools. But we need to fix that, everyone. We need to come to an agreement because it's only a city 3x4, and it doesn't make sense how these three are operating. And our corporate council is in charge of all 3 units. That's terrible. Shouldn't happen that way, City Council. But again, time is up. Merry Christmas, everybody. As I'm going to state again, this city can do better with different leadership. And the aldermen up there that just voted for this tax increase, I'm going to do it my best to find some competition for you because competition is good. That's what we need to do. And we need a mayor that's going to stand up and be for us and tell us he has a plan because there is no plan. We spent money, still no plans. Thank you.
Anyone else?
No. Oh, sorry.
Again, I say to each and every one of you, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. God bless each and every one of you, and entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Is there a second?
Second.
Markham.
Been moved by Alderman Reynolds. You said Markham?
I thought Markham said it.
I second it.
Second by Alderman Markham. City stand adjourned. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? See you next year, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. Don't pay one bit of taxes in this city.
Sir?
They be up here talking.
Oh, my goodness. So we gonna put that down. That's the story.
You got no house, man. How you gonna pay?
Yes, I was like, I said,
think I wanna
I'm
go
on
far?
Alderman Reynolds' side. Right.
The zero?